Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks for joining me again today. Time for another design team project for WhichCraft Do You Do. Wanted to show you one of their bits and pieces collections. Now if I go to my WhichCraft Do You Do folder, and we go to bits and pieces, if I can. Right. So this is bits and pieces. I don't know, I'm hoping it's not too glary on there. So this is set 1, the original one they did. They are up to set 7 now. And what I'm doing with this one, you can do with all of them. I've gone through and had a look at all the others, and you can do it with all of them. There are some beautiful, beautiful ones. There's mushroom ones, there's flower ones, there's vintage ones. There's just coloured versions of some of the others that have been collated into one. There's a brand new one out that's called watercolour as well. Now, when you look at something like bits and pieces, you look at it and you go, yes, they are bits and pieces, and I can add them to any project that I've got. They are one of those awesome kits to have in your stash, to use, to pull out, to put with your other journals, to do with tags, to put with all your other bits and pieces. Boom, boom. But I want you to look at it slightly skewed. I want you to think of how you can use these. If I just swing that way, this is set 1. You probably can't see it all, but believe me, it's all here. So this is set 1, and it's so up my alley. If you girls have been following me for a while, you will know that. It has all these wonderful, some of them I've printed toodle page so that I've got smaller ones as well. But it's got so many bits and pieces, including your numbers and your words and all the rest, that you can look at these slightly skewed and actually create a project just using these. So as I said before, there's something to have in your arsenal, just to have in your stash, sitting aside to do all your projects with, to add things. They're kind of like add-ons, but you can actually make a project from it. So from bits and pieces set 1, which is the original one, I want to show you a very quick little folio that has just been done. So we've got a tag in here. We've got tag space at the front. We've got a tag in here, journal card with tag space. We've got another journal card in here. Got some little ephemera in there. And we've got another pocket for tags in the back. This is so easy to do, and it is just using this set. Not added anything else. I've added a few little embellishments, but nothing from any other digitals, okay? So without further ado, let's get on to it. So I'm using one of my beautiful, beautiful ruler pages. There are 3 different ruler pages in this set. So this is one of them. I've trimmed off my border. So the final size, once you've trimmed off your border, we're going to go in centimetres. I think might be a bit easier with these. So they're 27 centimetres. Oh, a bit over 19. Let's have a look. Yeah, not quite 7 1/8 by, what's that? 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 16ths. Wow, now I'm pushing it. Right, so all we're going to do for this one is we're going to fold so that we get our little folio. Now when we fold it, if you find the easiest way, you could mark here or you could score here. I have done this just on copy paper. So because it's copy paper, if I score it, it'll want to tear a little bit, and it's just so easy to fold. And I've just realised I've lost my pencil. Oh no, I put it away, look at that. So the easiest way to do it is to work out your 2 folds to start with. So we're going to measure over 7 1/4 inches. Okay, 7 1/4. Seven and a quarter. Which way have I gone? I've gone that way. And an inch. Yeah, I want to go the other side actually. In saying that, scrap that because I want this side as my front side, as my first side. So I'm going to go 7 1/4 from the left hand side. So mark down 7 1/4, which is there, and mark down 7 1/4, which is here. Turning it round and just fold that up to those marks. Okay, give it a crease, give it a push with your bone folder just so it's nicely creased. Okay, here's this one we're going over, but I don't want it to come all the way in. I just want it in a little bit so that, yeah, I'll pull out my original one and show you so it's easy to get to. So here's my original one. All right, and so our 7 1/4 from here to here, because we're going to fold a little bit over to make this first pocket. With this side, I don't like them coming all the way to the edge because then you're trying to get in here. So we're just going to take it back somewhere between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch to this fold line in here. So if I just flip that back out and go like that, you'll see exactly where that fold line is. How's that? So now can you see where that fold line is? So if I fold this, I want him to finish round about there. It is just copy paper, so I can just fold that straight down. Look at that, it's actually on the edge of one of my rulers. Okay, so there's that. I want to make a pocket originally to go straight up here. That can be any size you like. If I go there, let's have a look and see what size we've got left. About 5 1/2, round about. So I've taken it up probably 2 inches, have I? Yep, look at that, 2 inches, just folded straight up. Do the same with that. Okay, so now what we've got is that'll be folded in, and that one's going to fold over that way. I want this bit folded in to give me that. So what we're actually going to do is take out this section. So if I put another line across there, we're going to take out that section. So you can do that with a knife, you can do that with your scissors, you can do it with whatever works best for you. If I line that up, because my pencil line's not straight, we can always trim it to make it a little bit more even later on. Straight down this line. It's so easy, this. It's just one of those basic folds that work for so many things. So now we've got our pockets here. We'll fold over there, and our pockets, and that one there. This one we're going to fold to make a pocket so that it's not quite, what's the word I want? Not quite all the way to there. Make sense? So again, if you want to, just find a ruler edge and fold straight up that ruler edge. There we go. Doesn't have to be that big. So now what we've got is that. So simple. There's your basic folder from that one. So what we'll do now is we will ink our edges just to give them a little bit of definition. I'm going to cover this so I don't need to do that one. And we're going to cover them and decorate them with the rest of the elements from this kit. But just very quickly, just defining our edges. around the top. I love these papers. They are so versatile. And as I said, any of the bits and pieces kits or collections in the WhichCraft Do You Do digital downloads will work for this. I've just gone through them all just to double check, and oh look, my mind's going mental because there are so many that you could do this with. Right, that's all done. I need to do my pockets, and we need to check. See, this is really close to this fold line, so what's going to happen is it's going to want to fold back on itself. So we're just going to give that a very thin sliver off it, just a little bit, doesn't need much. You can always take more, but you can't put it back on. So if we fold that back over, see how there's just a little bit in here now, but that's going to allow that flap to move beautifully. So we'll do that one just to finish him off. Right, now what we're going to do is add our little bits and pieces. So out of our kits, and I've got a big pile of mess here. I'm going to move that and that and that. And I'll move all these ones away so that we've got some space. What we want is our little ones of these. Okay. They fit beautifully in there, and that was just happenstance. It worked. So I can use any of those. Let's just pull this row off. So straight down your lines. Need that blade back over again. There's that one. Straight back down your lines again. And then top and bottom it, and we can work out then which ones we want to put in. Now all the bits and pieces kits have papers similar to these, different styles, etc. But they're all along the basic same way. This will fit in here. Now, if I lift this up and I lift this up, you'll see it's a little bit smaller. We want to make sure it goes to this side. Okay? Like so. This one's going to be, one of them is going to be a little bit smaller. So, if I take that to that one, any of those, this one I can do as a lighter one, and I'm going to take it across there. I'm going to chop off that top one because they're the colours that I want. You can just put the whole thing on if you want, it's up to you. But these are the colours that I want. So, and then I'm just going to trim that off once I've actually got it on. It's easier to ink this piece prior. You don't need to ink down here because it's covered by the pocket. We're going to adhere that. I'm just turning this around fairly close to that, but leave a little bit of a gap so that again it will fold nicely. So you can see a little bit of a gap in there, but it's not going to make any difference because this is going to come down like so. Okay, so I'll grab that and I'm going to ink. No, I'm not going to ink. I'm going to glue to round about down here. Now, because it is all copy paper, it's going to want to buckle a little bit as we go. It doesn't take long. I sat down yesterday and started playing with this, did my basic folder, covered most of it, and came back today and it was all nicely flat. You can see the little bits that I've just finished off now because they're slightly curled. So it'll just go flat for you. So that'll go down here. Move that one there. Before you've stuck it properly, just make sure that will fold down. And it hasn't lifted any of that up. Crease that over. Trim this section off. For that, we're just going to give it a quick wipe with our tool, whether you use a bone folder for that, an old credit card, whatever, it's up to you. So we're going to trim this bit off. And we've still got another one of those we can use. Okay, this bit now can go over and be adhered down, so that we know exactly where we're going, and all we need is a little bit of glue, top and bottom, just to make a very fine pocket. Hold that down, give it a little bit of a push, and then we can ink this bit up where we've cut it, just to keep that grunge. And I've gone really grungy, more than my normal burnt look around the edge, because of what the papers are with this one. If I was using a flower one or something like that, I might just give it that burnt edge, or I might go with a lighter brown. This time I've gone with my dark brown, my gathered twigs, and I want a real grungy effect with it. Now, here's these ones. Don't want to put our pocket in yet because we want to put a backing in. So the backing I want to use is this sheet, page 11 on the kit, and I get 2 of these journals from this kit. So this is the remainder of the first page. And again, I can trim that to whatever size I want. Again, we're going to adhere that so that it's not quite all the way in. And then I can trim these off. I really like those though. I really like that top edge. So I'm thinking I might just trim a little bit off the bottom. Doesn't matter if I'm slightly smaller, because again, it's got a pocket, so it's going to be hidden. So I'm just going to eyeball that. Trim that off. Like so. And again, I'm going to ink this bit first because it's too hard to ink that later on. You can, but for me, it's easier just to ink it while it's still just a sheet of paper. This one's then going to go in here, a little bit away, and straight across, okay? And then we can trim up here, and we can pop our pockets in. How easy is this so far? I mean, how easy is this? So I'll grab our glue book. We're going to, that's all my list of all the different bits and pieces, kits that they have. We're going to ink all of this up to about there. So you can see it through there where I don't need to ink 2 again. And I'm just going to take it. Make sure you get your corners. You can always go back and do your corners if you've missed them, but wait for the whole thing to dry, and then you can go back with your liquid glue if you haven't done it, if you've missed a corner, and touch that little bit up. All right. Last little bit. Corners are definitely done. Edges, sit you there. Here's this one, turning it over. Down there, down that one, and again with our scraper, which I've just put where? There. So I've got a bright purple one for just such that reason, but I still lose it. So this is thickening it up as well, because we're giving it extra layers. It's thickening it up so that we can actually get something a little bit thicker when it's all folded. So you can see I've missed a bit there. No, I haven't. That's good. You can't see it then. Trim this bit up. I mean, how hard is this? As I said before, they're one of those great kits that works so well in your stash. Now, I'm going to fold that one. It's still a little bit soft, so it works really well folding it now. Fold him back in place. Then I'm going to fold it the other way. because again, I like, this is just a me thing, I like the look of that, where they actually fold. But that, as I said before, is just a me thing. If you don't ink, don't fret. It's wholly and solely up to you whether you want to ink or not. Right, don't need to ink down there because this is covered by this one. So here's this. This one we need to make sure is in there. So I'm just going to do the same on that so that it's nice and grungy for me. These ones can now be adhered. Now, the other thing I like to do is just a little bit up here. You can do them like that, but I find that when I open it, my journal cards and tags tend to want to move, join forces on the other side, all of that sort of thing, go and have parties with each other. So I'll tend to put just a little bit in there as well. We just want to go straight up the side, that side, and then a little bit up along there. Missed a few bits there. Right. So now we're just going to fold this over. A little bit of a push in there, there, and there. Crease that over. If it's sticking out a little bit because it's all folded in on itself, we can trim that off. So I'm just going to get my bone folder now and re-press down on all of these, just so they're sitting nice and flat. And I trim that little bit off first because it's got a little bit of glue on it. Like so. And then we can crease the other one. It'll need a little bit more ink where I've taken off the ink from that. So this one's like so. This one's going to fold over like that. And like so. How hard? Really? How hard was that? Right. So now what we want to do is decorate it. And again, we decorate it with the bits that we've got in our kit. Now, let's go back to these ones. And we're going to pull out these ones because we have ads in here as well. So many different ads. There's some beautiful, beautiful ads. Hang on a moment, let me pull this up. Bits and pieces. Now, if we go over to here, you will see that there are some pages of ads. Not too glary, no, that's all right. So we've got larger ones. Now, these ones measure 4 by 1 1/4. These ones are the same size, different ads. Same with these, different ads. And then we've got a small page. Now, our small page are the same ads, but they all only measure 2.5 by about 3/4 of an inch. They're great because it gives you that option each time. So, I'm going to put this one down, move. Oh, lost everything. What I want to do is my numbers to start with. Which are these ones again? Okay, so no, I don't. I'm going to use my ads. I'm going to go that way. And I'm going to trim down here and I'm going to tear this section. Right. And what I'm going to do now is have a sip of my coffee. I just went down and got a coffee. Came home and it was so hot it wasn't funny. Now it's getting to a better temperature. Right. Trimming off this section. Just to get rid of all that. It's probably wise to, once you've printed out a digital, especially if you're putting them in the books to use and grab all the time, take off your white edges first. What is it? Do as I say, not as I do, because I never think to do it. But the first thing I do when I pick up a sheet is take off all my white edges. So this one's going to be this height by part way through there. I'm thinking, yeah. No, I really like this one. I really like this one. So I'm going to tear that, but I'm going to tear it this way towards me so I don't end up with this white gap in here. And I just want to make some angles and some ins and some outs. Like so. That'll be adhered to that bit, which will be adhered to that bit, and then I'll trim that off. So this time I want to do my burnt edge along that. So I'm just scraping it backwards and forwards over the edge. Give that a good grunge. Give my edge, my flat edge, a good grunge to match in with the rest of my little folio. The bottom I'm going to trim off, so I'll ink it then. So this can now go down here like that. I want to put some cheesecloth on there, just to give it a little bit more texture. So, pulled out my coffee dyed muslin. And now here's a story. I went to do this yesterday because I was playing here yesterday. I had house to myself, the desk to myself. It was lovely. I was going to do all of this yesterday. And I found that I couldn't find my coffee dyed cheesecloth. Couldn't find it. And I've got a massive pack that I did, and I just had a little strip out at a time. Could not find it, so I thought, all right, I'm going to have to do some more, which I then did. I had one tiny little piece, did that, used that bit, then went to coffee dye this. I'd been coffee dyeing already on the Friday. This is now the Monday. So this was Sunday yesterday. Went to coffee dye. Thought I'd just do that. Oh, while I'm here. Oh, and while I'm here. And while I'm here. And so in the end, I think I just want that like that. In the end, I did no more on the journal, on the folio. I did no more filming, and I spent a lovely afternoon. Oh, what a small one that. I spent a lovely afternoon coffee dyeing again. So I coffee dyed my muslin, I did a bit of lace. I then worked on a pile of invoices, as in just the invoice books. You know, the plain old invoice books. Now, if you notice what I'm doing here, because I use my double-sided tape to attach my cheesecloth to my paper, first of all. If you use the really narrow one and you've got a torn edge, you can wind it around your edges. So it just allows that little bit more movement instead of, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. Don't worry if you've got a bubble like that, because as we take this off, that bubble will now push down. And I've just dropped that. Hang on one moment. We'll see if I can do this with the microphone attached. Yep, look at that. I'll put that one back up there. I am learning how to operate this microphone. I really like this. I really like that. So I want this about there. So I'm going to just chop this up here. Don't need to waste too much of it. Because let's face it, I've only got about 10 packets. Come off. Right. So now I'm just going to start working out where I want this. And I love this bottom section. Give it some edges. Give it some loved look. And down. Oh, I hope you can't hear that. That's my dishwasher going. Alright, like so. So now what I've got, I'm going to need to pull that bit out. Like that. So now what I've got is this. Oh, and I'm going to lose half my nice little section down there, aren't I? Take it up a little bit. Might take it little bit by little bit, I'm thinking, just so I can take off a bit of each so I don't lose too much of that yummy section that I found down there. Bit of glue. We'll glue this on. I'm going to use my liquid glue, not my glue stick, because I've got the cheesecloth on there. And I'm not using double-sided tape because I want to be able to play with it so that I can use both bits of that cheesecloth. So just dot it whereabouts you've got your double-sided tape. It'll allow it to go in. A little bit in here. That'll all hold it in. Give it a couple more dots. Right. Lifting it up carefully, she says, as she drops it everywhere. So I'm going a little bit up. Follow my straight edge down. Make sure my cheesecloth is out. Give it a good push. So that now we've got some texture sitting in there. And now I can just trim off my edges. It's only small, so we'll just use the scissors. And then clean the scissors because there's glue all over it. Like so. Do the same on the bottom section. Oh, that's sad that I'm losing that. I might have to try and pull that off. I like that. That's bad, Kylie. Alright. So I'll just ink the top and bottom now. Like so. Like so. And what I want to do is put a tab. Because again, this beautiful kit has got tabs, which I haven't pulled out. So I'll do that glue up. Wipe that so it actually comes out. Now, in this kit, we've got, I think there's 3 sets of tabs. The other ones are similar to these. And I've been using these so many times in so many different journals and cards and all the rest. But look at this set. With all the colours that are going on with this bits and pieces set, these ones work so well. So I'll pull out this sheet. I've got it sitting in there a couple of times because I love them so much. All right, and I want a big one again because I want it to make a statement. So I'm going to pick some colours that I like in this. Thinking this might work really well. So let's just take this one out. This is page 7 in the kit. They don't take much to cut out. So I'm thinking those colours will look lovely on that. So just follow around. Don't worry about it too much if it's slightly off. You'll notice, well, if I bring it closer to the camera in a second, you'll notice that I quite often have little white pieces showing. I love fussy cutting, don't get me wrong, but I'm not an expert at fussy cutting. Is there anyone an expert at fussy cutting? And I suppose the best way to put it, I'm not a perfectionist at fuzzy cutting, and I'm more of a she'll be right type person. If that's wrong, that's wrong, but I'm cool with that. What I use is my ink to cover up all of those odds and sods where it goes out of shape a little bit, especially when you're doing curves. It's so hard to cut a curve out from paper when you're trying to follow a design. Curves, flowers, leaves, those sorts of things, unless you spend heaps of time on them, which I don't, you will always end up. So, what can I put that on that's dark? Can you see that there's white edges in there? I'm not concerned about them. So fold that over so that it matches as best it can. All right. And then we're going to use their ink again. So I'm going to start with like my burnt grungy edge. So it's burnt, but just a little bit grungy in there. And I'm just getting into all those edges. Now you can't see any white. So this is why I don't concern myself when I'm cutting them out, that they're not dead on perfect type thing. All right, so I've taken all those away. Now I'm going to make sure that it doesn't show too much. So I might need to move this section. Give it a push. That's looking better. So I'm just going to do my edge. Do that edge. Work out that my writing is correct, and it's going to sit in here like that. Doesn't it just, it just gives it something extra. So when I put it on, we're just going to glue this section first. So just following along, going around, straight across. Give that a little bit of glue. Fold this out. Work out where you want this. Again, I do tend to use my grid just so that I've got at least something straight, and I want it about there. So to this point, up to this point, you've used it wet glue, so it gives you that chance to move it if you need to. Get the rest of your glue out. Now you can glue this section, okay? But you want to do it all the way up to the fold this time, because that will then adhere this bit to it as well. Lift that up, fold that over. It still sits in that 1 inch pocket that we've got sitting on the other side. And look at that. How pretty is that? So let's go to our word page now. Back to our bits and pieces, because I didn't pull them all out. Oh no, I do actually. I've got the word one out. It's sitting beside me because I've been using that in the altered journal. So that's this one, and I've been using this quite a bit in the altered journal one, and I love these. This is fairly light, and if I put this on it, it's just going to fade into insignificance. So I want one of these. It does have black through it, so there's lots of black going on, so the black's not going to look out of place. So we'll just go, I used number 4 in the last one, let's just use number 3 in this one. I'm just going to go somewhere between the two, down, up the middle of those, like so. All right, so there's our number 3. That goes back over there. Again, I'm going to just take away my white edges. Oh, look, it probably makes no difference. It's just a me thing. There's lots of things that are me things. And I want a little bit of cheesecloth on the back of that again as well. So we'll use our double-sided tape again. We'll put a strip under that. Cut that section off. And we want just a section of this. Doesn't need to be too wide. It can be longer than the other one because I can gather it a little bit if I want to. So I'm just going to have a look at that. If I just scrunch that up, like so, that will sit in there lovely. So I'm happy with that. Take our double-sided tape off. And now we can start manipulating, I suppose, our cheesecloth. So I'm just going to gather it as I go, scrunch it up. It doesn't need to be, I don't want it to be, you know, dead on going around. So that's what I've ended up with. And that on there, I think, looks rather awesome. Okay, a little bit of glue. You can use your fabric glue, you can use your wet glue. I just wouldn't use your glue stick. You could again use double-sided tape if you want. I'm just going to grab my tweezers for this time. You could raise that up if you wanted. Like, how easy is that? Right, we're into 40 minutes. So we're just going to go through and work a few things out. What I want to show you is how to do that journal card with the pocket in it. Okay, so I'm just going to use just a piece of lightweight cardstock to give it some form at the back. It needs to be, so here's our pocket. Our pocket all up is about 3.5. So if I cut this to 3.25, it'll fit. And it needs to be about 5.25 if I want about that length. So let's have a look. I'll get our trimmer out because it's easier to do actual measurements that way. So what did we say? 5.25. I can always trim this further down if we want to, by 3.25 to start with. If I need to make it a little bit smaller, I can. Put you there, you there. You're the scrap from that, and you're the scrap from that. Let's have a look and see. That fits in beautifully. You know, it's got room to move. It's not tight going in, and it comes up to about there. So I'm happy with that. What I want to use is my advertisements again. All right, so it's going to move all that. So here's a page of the advertisements. I've got one out of there. Whether I've used it on this or whether I've used it in the altered book that we're doing, I'm not quite certain. So if you'll notice, this is about the length of 4 of these, but they are going to have to be trimmed down. So we'll just take out a section of 4. We could take out a section of 3. We'll take out a section of 4 because I just want to show you something first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, trim all that down, take him out. And that one. Right, so here's this. We know it's going to fit on beautifully. What I'm going to do is trim it straight across here because I'm going to use this one as our tag. So we're going to trim that one out. Okay. And these are going to go straight on here, round about centered, like that. Okay, so I'm going to glue this. When I find what I've done with my glue book, and back to my glue stick. Don't need this bottom section, round about there. Just roundabouts work really well for me this weekend. Okay. Ugh. Lifting that up. Moving you back around. What did I do with that? It's stuck to the back of it. Make sure we're up the right way. Somewhere in the centre. Again, it's glue stick, so if you need to move it, you can move it. Hold it down. Give it a good crease. And trim it up. Now, if you don't want to save paper, you could have just covered the whole thing. Alright, so there's that. Now, what we want are another 2 ads. So, which 2 ads do we like? Quite like that, and I like that. I like that blue. So I like those two. The blue's going to show out. You're not going to see this one when it's in its pocket, but you will see that blue. So they're the two that we're going to use. So trimming that off and going up to the blue one. Move that out of the way. Right. So there's that. These are going to adhere like that. We've got this one under here because as you're putting it in, you generally see something of that. Okay? So we know we're going to this point. So if we use our liquid glue, we're going to go from this point straight down, and we're going to make it into a pocket. Try and go as close to the edge as you can. Awesome, Kylie. We got the shakes up today. I haven't had enough coffee. That's been my problem. It is like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And, oh, it's after actually. 5:30 in the afternoon. Can't be. Wow. Fancy even having coffee at this time anyway. Right, so about centre. No, hang on. I just want to ink that bit up. The rest I can do later. But that bit needs to be done. Like so. Follow you down. And now we've made a pocket. We're going to trim around the rest of these. It does not look straight, but that's okay. Now, going to have to do it with my knife. You know me, I'm no good with scissors. Scissors and I just don't work. Truly, we don't. Alright, that one and that one. And then we get to see what we've got when we turn it over. Yay! Right. So we'll ink around that. So now what we've got is our journaling card. And you can do what you want on the back. You can change your colour. You can do any of that. You could cover it again if you want. But I've got it so that I could journal on the back. So I've got a journal card now with a pocket that just looks like a journal card. But what I've got is a pocket. Okay? That's not very exciting, that one, is it? I reckon we'll have a more exciting one here somewhere in our scraps. It's great for bits like that, but for making it into a tag, commercial cables works better because it goes all the way up. This one looks nice as well. Let's just use that one. Let's just use that one. And what we're going to do with this one, straight down. Ink around it. Now, it is very soft, okay, because let's face it, it is paper. So what I'm going to do is glue it onto that. You will fit on that. Oh, look at that. Of course it will. They're 4 inches wide. So we'll just glue it onto that, make it a little bit more sturdy. Trim around it. And then we've got a nice sturdy tag. My cutting hasn't been very good. That's fine. It's fine. All right. Take that one off. That will go with our other one. Inking, just in case I've got my white and I can't be bothered trimming it up. Right. So here's this one. Does it have an up or a down? Might be that way, mightn't it? Now, see this? Where's one of those? Where's one of those? Where's one of those? You know when you get your paper bags, and you know when you get your little bits, the handles, if you unwind those handles, you end up with these beautiful paper pieces that are just gorgeous and make the most beautiful tag toppers that you can manipulate and do all sorts of things that will just staple in like so. Now, what I will usually do is put a little bit of glue there just to hold them in place while I'm stapling them. Work out where it goes. I want it there. Didn't check to see if this one needs trimming up, but that's fine. Grab the stapler, slide it into your stapler so that you're right on the edge, and push down. And they make just the most beautiful little tags. Now we can pop, and I probably will once we're off air. There we go, looking for that. And I'm looking for that. So now what I've got is that. Do you see where I'm coming from? Same on that side. Do the same sort of thing. So I'll pull out the one from the other one because I'll need to finish this off shortly. And I just want to go through everything with you to show you what it is that you can do with these. So same thing, next side. Cut out my little piece of cardstock, and I've covered it this time with the little ads because this one is smaller than that one, remember. So this one, our full width was 3.5. This time we're only 3 1/2 So we needed to make this one smaller. So I've got, he's about 3 inches, I'm fairly certain. Yep, 3 inches. So that he tucks in there. But what happened was, here they are. My little ads are only 2.5. So I've put them there, and then I've gone back to these papers, which is why I have them cut out in the, printed out in the Toodle page, shrinks them down a little bit, and I found one that's about 1/2 inch wide in a colour that I liked, and put that on the other side of it to give it that little bit of oomph. Okay, I've then used, so that's from the other one. If I go to my original one, I've then cut out another one from your small numbers, dates, those sorts of things. That's the large one. I want the small one. Okay, these ones, which are the ones that we used on this. Cut out one of those, and again put another piece of this behind it, just to tie all that in together so that this just wasn't a piece on its own. Okay, so I'll do the same with that, and I'll have another little piece going down there. Folding it over, I've gone to the bigger ones, and I've used 2. Attached them on so that we now have a pocket in here as well to start adding more. So, and this is where you'll start to get, let's just grab this one, shall we? I don't know if I can do this with, let's just move some gaps. Tear that off and tear that down. You'll see how good we are here because I'm not cleaning up any of my mess like that. All right, something like that can go in there again. Fold it over again. We've got the same sort of thing in here, just from a large ad again. How easy. What a wonderful way to use up some of these add-on kits that we get. The bits and pieces kits are just divine. So look at them both ways. Look at them for how they will add extra oomph to your journals, to the things that you're making, to your tags and all the rest. But also look at them as an identity on their own. You can't beat them. And as I said before, all of the kits, and they are up to set 7 now, the watercolours, mushrooms, flowers, there's a 4 and a 3 that are just colours and variants of the other ones, and there's a vintage bits and pieces that just looks gorgeous, and thinking I might have to get my hands on that one. But have a look at them all. There's something that you really need to have in your stash, and look at what else you can do with them. Hope you've all enjoyed this. As I said before, this is a design team project for WhichCraft Do You Do. I will have the link below that'll put you straight into their digital downloads. They've got so many, and they've had so many yummy ones come out in the last 2 weeks, I suppose, and a couple new freebies as well. So please go over, have a look. I kid you not, you'll thoroughly enjoy them. They're cheap. They're an awesome price. You really should just jump on board. Get on with these ones. Thanks for watching this, guys. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.